Hey everyone, Kyle Meinke here from MLive&apos. I'm at Wembley Stadium where the Lions have just lost 45-10 to the Kansas City Chiefs here in London. It was just an awful performance once again from the Lions, and it's disappointing because the Lions had made so many changes to the coaching staff this week and had really preached that don't expect a lot different with the offense with the team, but they were optimistic going forward with Jim Bob Cooter as the offensive coordinator and some changes on the offensive line that improvement would be there, and it just wasn't for the Lions. Had a field goal in the first series, and then next series ends with a sack. The series after that ends with a sack. Series after that, interception. Series after that, interception. At 38 unanswered points from the Kansas City Chiefs. It was just really a disappointing display and a very disappointing season from the Lions. The big news out of the post game was Jim Caldwell saying he does expect after the bye to still have his job, and we'll see if that happens, because with the mounting losses, anything is possible. And Jim Caldwell knows that. Martin Mayhew knows that. They know, these people know that the Lions had made those changes to the coaching staff, but if you lose games, bad things happen to you in the NFL. Well, the Lions lost another game. They're 1-7, and they're not just losing games; they're getting blown out. They're getting their quarterback blown up. Who knows how long Matthew Stafford can keep this up? He's been sacked 13 times in the past 2 weeks. That's more than a guy like Peyton Manning's been sacked all year coming into the weekend. A lot of problems for the Lions going into the bye. Defensively, they're a wreck as well. Big rushing day from Alex Smith. Yes, that Alex Smith, who's a pocket quarterback, but had a better rushing day than any Lions player has, offensive player has, all season. And so it's increasingly becoming a lost season for the Lions. And now I think that the heat is going to turn up a little bit on Martin Mayhew, because this week he had talked to reporters and said he still believed the Lions could win. They could win this year. They could make the playoffs. He said that he'd be a buyer at Tuesday's trade deadline, and you have to wonder what he's thinking now after seeing this display. Because the Chiefs team, keep in mind that the Chiefs were a last place team coming into this game. They're in the last place in the AFC West. They were 2-5. No Jamal Charles. They have their own problems. The owner, Clark Hunt, is coming out before the game talking about the job security of Andy Reid. That's the state of the Chiefs, and yet they were able to put this kind of display on the Lions. Not a good season for the Lions. More changes are probably afoot at some point. Whether or not they happen during the season or after the season is really the only question at this point. In London, I'm Kyle Meinke for MLive&apos.